Tough question series number 3. When your child asks you, what does blank mean? This happens a lot, often in the car, where they've heard a word, they wonder what it means. Maybe it's on the playground, maybe it's in a show, whatever it might be. But now they are saying, hey mom, what does blank mean? Or they might also just use this word before asking you it's an inappropriate word. They don't know what it means, and they're using it in conversation. Time for you to address it. So, what does blank mean? How do Christian moms address this situation? Well, I think there's some biblical principles that we can consider for this. Okay, number 1, biblical principle. We want our words to be honoring to God, and some of them are not honoring. There is corrupting talk. There are bad words out there, and Ephesians 4:29 in the Bible tells us not to use these words. So if it falls in that category, we don't want to use it. Number 2, biblical principle. Some people in the world don't care about using right language when it comes to honoring God. They don't care at all. Romans 1:18-28 talks about how people even know in their hearts that there is a God, but they still deny him and do whatever they want. So a biblical principle to communicate with bad language or inappropriate words is that there are a lot of people out there who don't honor God, who don't care about what God thinks, who don't care about what the Bible thinks, but we do. Number 3, you didn't know this word was bad or inappropriate, but now you do know. Now I'm equipping you with that knowledge. And so if you use it again, sweet little Johnny, there's a consequence. You know what? We're the moms. We're in charge. We're in charge of their language and what words they use. They didn't know before coming to you that this word was inappropriate, bad, whatever it might be. But now they know the rules. Now they're equipped with knowledge. And so it's our responsibility to enforce a consequence if we hear them use it now that they know. We don't need to give them a consequence the first time around. They didn't know. They were ignorant. But now that they do. And so we want to communicate to them, hey, I don't want you using this word. Okay, a couple practical tips. Don't respond with shock or gasp when they say a word. Don't make it such a big deal. We want our kids to come to us. I want them to come to me. I don't want them to come to their phones, the internet, their friends, a coach. I want them to ask me these questions. And if we can provide an environment that is warm, welcoming, sure, let's talk about anything here. I want you to ask your mom. Then I remain the authority. I remain the person that they feel comfortable talking to you. Number 2 tip, ask them questions and try to identify where they're hearing this info. Where are they hearing these words? Because you may want to cut out certain things or certain relationships or certain screens or shows, whatever, because as a result of this conversation. Tip number 3, if they're very young, keep it super simple. All you want to say is, oh, that's not a good word. It's okay, you didn't know. That's not a good word, and I don't want you to say it anymore. Mommy says that you can't say that word. We're in charge. We issue that command. We follow up with a consequence if they repeat it. But that's our job, to tell them what they can and can't do. God has put us as the authority in their life. It's okay to tell them no and to tell them you can't say those words. Now, as they get older, it would probably be a good idea to discuss further these biblical principles. Also, what type of reputation they will get if they start to use these words in their speech, if they start to even think the words. It's helpful to not do that. We can really address who they are and why they'd be tempted to use these words. But when they're young, we just want to keep it simple. As they get older, we want to follow up and talk about their heart and why they might even be interested in using some of these cuss words or some of these inappropriate language. I know there was a word that everyone was using recently, and when I looked up the definition, I asked my kids what it means. They didn't really know. We looked it up, and it wasn't a great definition. It wasn't bad. I just said, no, I don't like it. And there was a little bit of, what? It's not that bad, and I said, I'm in charge. I don't want you to use that word. So let's teach our kids what kinds of words honor God, and let's respond just with no big deal when they ask us, what does blank mean? And even if that blank is pretty shocking to us, let's have that open conversation with them available at any time.